Welcome to the GIST Cancer UK meeting, first one of 2026. We decided to do this in Milton Keynes because the Joyce Chapman Charitable Trust very kindly gave us a donation, and they requested that the patient meeting should be in Buckinghamshire or Oxfordshire, so hence the reason we're here. So thank you very much to them for their support, because we are a charity led by volunteers, and everything we do that costs anything, such as these meetings, is all through donations. So we are really grateful to them for their donation. Photos. One of our trustees, Ros, will be taking photos, and also we're being filmed as well, because we like to put our meetings onto YouTube, YouTube, and our YouTube channel is GIST Cancer UK. There's another one that's called our old name, GIST Support UK. That's not the one that these go onto, it's GIST Cancer UK. So please go onto it, like it. Somebody told me I had to say like it. I mean, I don't know how you can force somebody to like something, but anyway, it's a font of information. So particularly for new patients, if you go on there, you'll read, you'll see meetings before, there'll be some relevant stuff that you'll pick up, and it really is a good font of information. So please go on to that channel and have a look. Okay, so what I would like to do first, again, particularly because there's a lot of new people in the room, is just I'd like all the trustees to introduce themselves, their involvement in the charity, etc. So I'll start with me. Nick Puntis. I was diagnosed in 2010 with a 7-centimetre tumour in my stomach. I had it removed, all the margins were clear, all these things are good things. However, it was a very high mitotic count, so they put me on adjuvant imatinib for 4 years. It's not returned, touch wood, after 17 years. I went to my first meeting in 2010. As you'll see on your evaluation forms, which I'll talk about in a minute, there is a call, and there's always a call out for trustees. So I answered that call and was then asked to become a trustee in 2012. And then in 2015, it was one of those moments where the chairman at the time, who'd only been a chairman for a year, decided that she didn't want to do it anymore. And so we're looking for a volunteer to be a trustee. And we're around this long table, and everybody went and just looked at me. So okay, I'll do that. So and I've been trustee since 2014. So what's that? 12 years? 12 years. So and to be honest with you, for me, it's a personal journey. I like to keep up to date with what's going on in GIST, and I think the best way to do that is to be heavily involved in the charity. So that's the reason I've done that. So that's me. I'm now going to hand you to John, and then he'll go through the rest.
So, morning everybody. I'm John South, I'm the treasurer for my sins. So it's money in, money out. So if you give a donation, I get it. Thank you very much. I'm not a patient, my daughter is. So that's how I got involved with the charity, and I've been a trustee for... Too long. So yeah, that's me.
Hello everybody again. I've probably met most of you this morning at the desk. I'm Catherine Doyle. I'm the newest trustee, having joined recently, just at the end of last year. So this is my second patient meeting. My background is I'm a retired doctor. I was a GP. I used to work with John for many years, and that's how I was introduced to GIST through his daughter Erica, who also worked for me for a little bit as well. And I have had patients with GIST and obviously various cancers over the years that I've looked after. So I hope I can give something to the charity on that front for you. Okay, thank you.
I'm not a techie. Good morning, everybody. So lovely to see so many smiling faces. I'm Drew Lacey, and I became a trustee in July 2023. I'm not sure they would have actually ever recruited me, but I contacted them, and I didn't leave them very much choice. I banged on the door. I actually had my operation to remove a 10.5 centimetre GIST in the lower intestine. On the 1st of April 2023. I've been on imatinib since, come to a 3-year point on the circa 6th, 10th of June this year. usual range of side effects, which I'm not going to go into any detail about, but quite happy as I had to buddy my friends on my table 6 to share certain experiences with them. As far as trusteeship's concerned, we're a great bunch of people. Most of us are patients, or John, as said, his daughter suffered GIST. And we all work as best we can to undertake roles. In my case, I look after the helpline, the telephone helpline that some of you may have used, and I do a number of other things. But I'm so pleased to be here to share the experiences with you today, and I'm available to talk to anybody if you so wish.
Morning, everyone. I'm Mark Atlay. I'm secretary to this wonderful charity. I am part of the Exon 11 team. Yeah, go Exon 11. I had my GIST removed in 2017. I was then on imatinib for 3 years, and since then have been off. About that time, I decided to retire from my work. Had to find something to fill the hours with, and I'm delighted I joined the GIST team, the board, in order to be able to do that. So it's been a great experience. And I've learned a lot about GIST in that time, but more importantly, I've met some really wonderful people. Hope to speak to you again during the course of the day, and have a great day.
Thank you. So I'm Ros Langford. I am a trustee, and I have been for 3 years, I think now, just coming up for renewal, if they'll keep me. And I am a GIST patient. It was discovered during lockdown, a bit of a traumatic time because it got delayed being sorted, but we came through it. And then I had imatinib, adjuvant imatinib, for 3 years, which finished in 24. And I became a trustee, as I said, 3 years ago, and it's been a wonderful experience being a trustee. I would welcome other people putting their names forward, because I have learned a lot, obviously being able to give back, but I've learned a lot by being a trustee, found out a lot more about this very rare disease, and my role on the trustee board is communications, so I create the newsletter. There'll be one immediately after this event, and I do the Facebook page, which you do have to like.
Oh, good morning. I'm Cathy, Hampshire. I'm the vice chair. I have a couple of roles. So I organised the event today. So you've probably had lots and lots of emails from me. But also, when you first join the charity and you log on and you send off your little form, that comes to me, and I email you back, and then I send you a pack out, and then one of the people from the helpline team give you a call. So there's some of the jobs I do. I do lots of other things behind the scenes. So my GIST was diagnosed also in lockdown, so I was similar to Ros. I had my surgery in October 5 years ago, and it was about 15 centimetres, and it was quite major surgery. They couldn't do it keyhole. I was then put onto imatinib, and it affected my liver, so I had to come off it. I then, a couple of years later, unfortunately, my tumours reappeared, and then are various places in my stomach and my liver. I was put back on imatinib, taken off it, went on to sunitinib for about 3 weeks, taken off that, and I have been on regorafenib for about 2.5 years, and still going strong. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, thank you. There's 2 more people that I'd like to mention. One is a trustee, one used to be a trustee as a volunteer, stood up at the moment. He's just about to sit down. So the first one is David Lane. So he lives in Scotland, wasn't able to make it today. He deals with all our fundraising, so another important trustee. He's had a lot of his bodily organs removed, and he's still fighting fit, plays golf regularly, so he's doing extremely well. And there's Tony, who's just walked in. Tony, stand up again. So Tony used to be a trustee, and he decided he wanted to retire properly and spend some time travelling. So he's between holidays at the moment. He likes to go all around the world, and I don't blame him. He is our IT expert. He'll tell you he's not an expert, but he's certainly more of an expert than I am on it. Eh? Yeah, okay. I resemble that remark. It's a really important role. Thankfully, although he retired as a trustee, he's decided to remain as a volunteer with us, which we are really grateful for. So one thing I want to say about all the trustees is that they all do fantastic jobs, but you've heard that they all have their own individual areas that they cover. There's only one of them. So if something happens to one of them, they decide to retire or whatever, we have to try and absorb their role within the existing trustee. Or, and this is where you might come in, we can recruit some new trustees. So please have a think about it. What I would suggest is if anybody is interested in becoming a trustee, it isn't onerous at all. It will help you with your journey of GIST as well. If you have any spare time to be able to help, please come and see one of us. We have an evaluation form as well, and that's an important part of our day to day. It gives us an idea of what you liked about the day, what you didn't like about the day, any suggestions you might have, and also an opportunity for you to maybe put your name forward to at least consider the idea of being a trustee. And we had a board meeting yesterday, and the biggest risk that we have within the charity is the fact that Tony is our only IT expert. So if there's anybody out there with any IT experience, you know, that's one role that we really do need somebody to come in and help us with. Cathy's just reminded me that you've got some posters on your desk. This one says, Imatinib Gleevec stopped working. I'd rather have chosen a more positive one. But ignore those for now. Cathy will tell you more about that when we get further into the meeting this morning. Okay, so one final thing about trustees and ex-trustees, and our current life president, Judith, the founder of our charity. She made a decision very recently that, first of all, Judith was the first person I spoke to when I rang the helpline, and she might also be, for many people in the room, the first person that was spoken to, along with Marion. Where are you, Marion? Stand up, Marion. Actually, come over here, because I need you to say something in a minute. So Marion is also a volunteer, been involved with the charity for 18 years, I believe. Yeah. And so they're the people that I did, and I'm sure you did, that when you get diagnosed, you've not a clue, and probably your doctor didn't have a clue what it was either. So you Google GIST, hopefully our name came up, and there was a helpline telephone number, you rang that. You'd speak to either Marion, possibly Drew, possibly Danny, and almost certainly Judith. Now, Judith made a decision a couple of weeks ago for personal reasons. She's in her 90s now, still fit and healthy, but her husband isn't as fit and healthy. She needs to spend more time with him. So she's decided that she's going to step away from that role of answering the phone. She wants to continue with Gaggle Mail, which is our other forum for people speaking to each other. And so she's decided that she will continue with that side of it, but from now on, or from very shortly, as soon as we sort out how not for her to receive phone calls, as soon as that happens, she won't be doing it. But it started us thinking about the length of time that we've been going as a charity. And you know, when was our first meeting? When did we first have a meeting to decide to become a charity? When did Judith decide to become a charity? Or was it when we became registered with the Charity Commission? We haven't decided when, but coming up very soon is our 20th anniversary. So we're going to be doing something probably next year as a kick-off to our 20th anniversary of being a charity. And Judith will definitely be involved in that. So those that haven't met her who would like to come to that meeting, whenever we decide, you'll see it on all our forums, she'll be there. So, but what it does mean is there's a bit of a hole in our helpline area. So Marion's going to just quickly tell you about what that involves.
And you can guess why, can't you? I will have spoken, or Judith or Danny will have spoken to about half the people in the audience today, and there are a lot of names out there that I recognise, so I'm very glad that you've all made it. Yes, the numbers are down, and I want to tell you a little bit more about the helpline. Our service is divided into two. They're the people who phone us. Usually they've just been diagnosed with GIST, and they're absolutely at their wits' end. They don't know what to do, where to go, there are a lot of questions that need answering. And our job is to try and steer them as best we can. And of course, guess what? We recommend that they register with GCUK and have the support of the wider network that you've got around you. And those are the incoming calls. Some people have specific questions like holiday insurance or where is my nearest specialist hospital, and other people just need to get something off their chest. But that's fairly rare. The other part of the job is actually phoning people who've just registered. And we owe everybody a due diligence to make sure that everybody who is part of the organisation has a right to be here, because we share some very important and very personal things about ourselves, and we need to know that we're in safe hands. And so we always phone up everybody who registers to say mainly hello and welcome, and sorry you've got to join the club, and then to find out where you are, which hospital looking after you, are you in safe hands? And more importantly of all, is there anything that Just Cancer UK can do to help you? It's a fabulous role. I do it from home, I do it in my own time when it's suitable, and there's a gap. If you feel that you'd like to join us, you would be so welcome. Come and talk to me either tea, coffee, lunchtime, wherever, and I can tell you a bit more about it. All you need is to be able to listen to people with kindness and empathy, and I know that you can all do that. So bear it in mind and perhaps come back to me later today.
So, I do another role within the cancer field. So I'm vice chair of a charity called Cancer 52. It should be renamed Cancer 56. The 56 represents the number of deaths from cancer. 56% of all cancer deaths come from rare, less common cancers. So more people die of that than they die of the four main ones that get all the attention and all the money from government. Two very important things have happened this year, which Cancer 52 and me in particular have been very involved in. One is the NHS 10-year plan. The NHS 10-year plan is looked at, clues in the name, every 10 years. Rare cancers has never been something that they focused on before. We've been petitioning them. I've had many meetings up in Parliament with MPs from all the parties over the last 4 or 5 years. We've now managed to get them in the current 10-year plan. Of one of the 6 chapters, it is a chapter on its own. So it's a fantastic result for rare and less cancer sufferers, so that it puts an onus on the government to make sure that they give it as equal a priority to any other cancer. And Cancer 52 represents all of the cancer charities in the rare and less common spectrum, of which there are around 200. And we're a member, as Just Cancer UK, we are a member of that charity as well. The other thing that's happened is, and it's a coincidence, but it's a really good coincidence, and that's the Rare Cancers Bill, which was brought to the table as a private member's bill by Dr. Scott Arthur. Ironically, what he's done is what I was attempting to get to Parliament to do. So I ran to be an MP in a safe seat, my home seat where I live, safe seat. I didn't win, and so therefore I didn't get to Parliament. But what I have done is supported Scott with his Rare Cancers Bill, and we've done that through Cancer 52 as well. So so I asked a question at the BSG conference of Scott when he did a presentation about it. And before he answered my question, he said, I'd like to thank you and Cancer 52. He described us as one of the 4 institutions that were heavily involved in the formation of the Rare Cancers Bill. So that puts a legal obligation on the government to make sure that they focus on rare and less common cancers as much as the main cancers. So it's a huge thing for the cancer field in the rare and less common cancer area. We had a presentation at a meeting about a month ago by the person who's going to be implementing the cancer plan. He mentioned how important the Rare Cancers Bill was to that cancer plan. I was slightly disappointed in that they have a plan, but they're finding resources being an issue. So, I think it's going to be a slow burner, But on the other hand, at least it's there, and we'll certainly, as Cancer 52, be behind them, making sure that they push it forward as much as possible to get more money into research, more money helping patient groups. Everything to do with rare and less common cancers is now as important as the 4 main ones ever were. And I think, to be honest, for me, the most important thing is that GPs, when they're presented with somebody who's showing symptoms of a potential rare and less common cancer, that they get them to a diagnostic centre so they can be diagnosed early. Because we all know with all cancers, the sooner you're diagnosed with a cancer, the better chance you are of surviving, getting treatment for it, etc. So it's a really important step, and we'll be monitoring it, watching it closely, and I'll be updating you at future meetings as well over it. The other thing that's happened is that we were heavily involved as a charity in repretinib, the drug that NICE, the National Institute for Clinical Excellence, were considering putting it on the NHS as being a drug that pharmacists, oncologists could prescribe to patients. We've been through this before with adjuvant imatinib. It's a long process, and it's in depth. It's one of those things that when you sit in front of a committee as a patient trying to explain to them that if you don't approve this drug, it could mean people could die, and then they say no, it just doesn't make any sense to me. They put it down to cost. It's a cost-benefit analysis. However, the first iteration of the it's called a single technology appraisal committee meeting, they refused it. Then I won't go to the technicalities of it, but basically it was refused because it passed everything else except the cost element of it. The NHS then raised the threshold for cost of it, which meant that the cost of regorafenib to the NHS fell within an acceptable measure. So there was an appeal, and the appeal was accepted. So we now know that repretinib can be dispensed to prescribed, that's the word I was looking for, prescribed to patients that need it. It's the 4th line treatment for us. So, it's a really important step. And I believe that part of the reason they raised the threshold was because of the upcoming, at the time, Rare Cancers Bill and the 10-year plan. So that's another example of how that has helped. So those 3 things are really, really good bits of news for the Rare Cancers charity. Other updates. So one of my roles within GIST Cancer is to attend on your behalf conferences, both nationally and internationally. So this year we've had the BSG conference. It wasn't just me that went to that. Drew went as well. BSG is the British Sarcoma Group. GIST is a sarcoma. It's the biggest cohort of sarcomas are GISTs. So the British Sarcoma Group conference brings together, in the UK, in Oxford actually, brings together all specialists within the sarcoma network, and they talk to us about all sorts of different and new innovations within all sarcomas, including GIST. It was a very good conference for us. We will tell you about that within the newsletter that Ros is producing. So you'll hear more the detail about that. Other conferences that I've been to, some international ones. Last year I went to Rome to the Sarcoma Patients Global Network, Advocates Global Network, which is, again, a collection of worldwide patients, professionals, researchers within the sarcoma network. Again, a heavy impetus on or focus on GIST because it's the biggest sarcoma. And that gave us the opportunity to learn about what's going on across the world. Remember I mentioned that I asked Scott Arthur, a question about the Rare Cancers Bill. That question was what's going to happen with regard to international relations. It's part of the bill that they will have to speak to, liaise with, learn from the international community. So for us to go to those and learn those things as well is very important. This year I'm going to Nashville to the Life Fest gathering, which is Life Raft Group are our equivalent, GIST Cancer UK's equivalent in the USA. They are bringing together an international collection of people with GIST specific. So I'm going over there to represent our charity, and again, we're learning from each other about the best ways to help you as patients and supporters, and directing to trials and things like this. Any new trials that are going on in the USA, we'll learn about when we go over there. So I'm going over there in the middle of July. And the Spain conference that I went to in Rome last year, this year is in Stockholm, and that's in the beginning of May. So I'm going there at the beginning of May. I can't persuade any of the other trustees to get on a plane and go, partly because I think insurance is quite high. That's one of the reasons. So I get to go, and it's not a jolly, I can tell you. I go over there and I'm sat in a room, whatever the weather's doing outside, for 3 whole days, just learning about GIST, and then I do a report back to the trustees, and then that's put into the newsletter. So it's really important work that we do to ensure that we know what's going on across the world. What else? Yes. Next, patient meetings. So 2nd of October is Novotel in Sheffield. What we tend to do is we have 3 patient meetings a year, 1 in Scotland, normally in Edinburgh, although I think we're looking at Glasgow for this year, and then 2, 1 in the north, 1 in the south of the UK. So this is the southern one. There'll be the next one is up in Sheffield, and then Glasgow. Venues to be confirmed. And then, as I said, 2029 will be our 20th year celebration. Where it says 2029, as I said to you earlier, there's this sort of period of when the 20th celebrations will be. So we'll probably kick it off towards the end of next year and then have a year of it. We want to do some fundraising as well for research projects and things. Then the Leicester gathering.
We discovered through the GIST forum email, a friend of mine put that she was from Rutland, Sue from Rutland, and I live in Rutland, and so I contacted her and said, where are you? And it turned out that we were fairly close, and so we started meeting for coffee. And then other people joined because they saw, on the emails that, they were close enough. And so there's now quite a little group of us, and so we decided that it would be a good idea to invite other people to come along if they were within reach of Leicester, really. So we meet generally a place just sort of, it's this place here, Buttercup's Tea Room, which is just east of Leicester, and plenty of parking, plenty of space. And we've had a couple of these meetings so far, and people have come from as far as 2.5 hours drive away to get there, and come from quite a wide area. But it's just really nice. It's no speakers, nothing like that. It's just purely to get together, have a chat, and meet other people, and form new friendships, and just to know that you are not alone, really. And it's become very popular, so we're having another one in May, which will be 6 months since the last one, and everybody is welcome, with supporters, friends, family, anybody you like, and just come along and have a coffee and a natter, and there's plenty, you can eat, there's lunch there and everything, and it's just nice. It's just very comforting to know that you are not the only one in this boat, and that you can meet others and encourage other people who are fairly newly diagnosed and share some of the things you've learned. And so yes, please, anybody, come along. You don't need to book or anything like that, just turn up. And all the details will be on the email a bit closer to the time, but it's the 13th of May. So thank you,
Pat. Thank you very much. So the one other thing I wanted to mention was fundraising for GIST Cancer UK doesn't just go into patient meetings and paying for patient meetings, and you'd be surprised how expensive these are to run, but they are very important. They're the reason we started in the first place. But we also support research projects, and we have a number of research projects that are ongoing at the moment, some very exciting ones, ones that are looking at the immune system, why it doesn't attack a GIST like it attacks or should attack as a normal immune system, and trying to engage it in order to get it to attack. That's one, very simply put. I mean, if the person in charge of it was up here, they would tell you in a much more detailed and complicated way. And we will do some presentations about those in the future. But Southampton, under Zoe Walters, Professor Zoe Walters, is a really good hub for doing all of that sort of work. So there are a number of research projects. You'll see them on our website as well. So money that is donated to us also goes towards that, and that could be the next drug. I mean, ultimately, it could be a cure. You never know. That's what we all aim for, ultimately. Okay, so a slight change to the programme. So we're bringing 3:15 up to now because Mr. Larn Jones Whiting from the Royal Marsden has very kindly turned up this morning, which is good for us.